February 11th is International Day for Women and Girls in Science. For the next 24 hours, we are celebrating 24 women throughout history who are pioneers in the various fields of science, from curing leprosy to confirming the existence of dark matter and inspiring selling seashells by the seashore to multiple Nobel Prize winners. These remarkable women smashed through the glass ceilings and the patriarchy and continue to blaze trails for women and girls around the world. Here are my 24 picks for International Day for Women and Girls in Science 2024. Number 1, Marie Curie, born 1867, died 1934. A pioneer in the fields of radioactivity and nuclear physics, Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and remains the only person to have won Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields, physics and chemistry. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Number 2, Jane Goodall, born 1934. A renowned primatologist, ethologist, and anthropologist, Jane Goodall is known for her groundbreaking work with wild chimpanzees in Gombe Stream National Park, Tanzania. At age 89, Jane continues to be the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees and still travels the world spreading her message of hope through action. The least I can do is speak out for those who cannot speak for themselves. Number 3, Rosalind Franklin, born 1920, died 1958. A chemist whose work was fundamental in the discovery of the DNA double helix structure. Unfortunately, her contributions were not widely recognized during her lifetime, and she tragically died at the young age of 37 from ovarian cancer. Science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated. Number 4, Barbara McClintock, born 1902, died 1992. A pioneering geneticist, Barbara McClintock received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for her discovery of transposons or jumping genes. No, not those kind of genes. She challenged the thoughts and beliefs on the accepted genetic doctrine of the time. If you know you are on the right track, if you have this inner knowledge, then nobody can turn you off, no matter what they say. Number 5, Qianxiang Wu, born 1912, died 1997. A Chinese-American experimental physicist who made significant contributions to the Manhattan Project during World War II and conducted the famous Wu experiment in nuclear physics. I wonder whether the tiny atoms and nuclei, or the mathematical symbols, or the DNA molecules have any preference for either masculine or feminine treatment. Number 6, Ada Lovelace, born 1815, died 1852. Often regarded as the world's first computer programmer, Ada worked on Charles Babbage's analytical engine, creating the first algorithm intended for implementation on a machine. She was also the daughter of the great English romantic poet Lord Byron, but never knew her father after her mother left him when she was just 5 weeks old, and he died just a few short years later. That brain of mine is something more than merely mortal, as time will show. Number 7, Dorothy Crowfoot Hodgkin, born 1910, died 1994. A chemist and Nobel laureate known for her work on the structure of important biochemical substances using X-ray crystallography. She discovered the structure of insulin. She was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1964 and remains the only British woman to have been awarded a Nobel Prize in science. Every form of life is beautiful. Anyone who doesn't appreciate yours doesn't deserve to change the way you look at yourself or the world. Number 8, Vera Rubin, born 1928, died 2016. Vera proved that dark matter existed in the universe by concluding that invisible gravity sources were pulling planets and stars in certain directions. She was awarded the National Medal of Science in 1993 by President Clinton. Science progresses best when observations force us to alter our preconceptions. Number 9. Mae Jemison, born 1956. An astronaut, engineer, and physician, Mae Jemison became the first African-American woman in space when she flew aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1992. Mae's also appeared in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation as Lieutenant Junior Grade Palmer. So, she's been in space, real and imagined. The amount of your accomplishments is in direct proportion to the amount of effort you put into them. Number 10. Barbara Liskov, born 1939. A computer scientist and the first woman in the United States to earn a PhD in computer science. She is known for her significant contributions to programming languages and distributed systems, and was the second woman to win the prestigious Turing Award. Follow your passion. Nothing, not wealth, success, accolades, or fame, is worth spending a lifetime doing things you don't enjoy. Number 11. Jennifer Doudna, born 1964. Jennifer's a biochemist and Nobel laureate, recognized for her groundbreaking work on the CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology, which has revolutionized genetic research. She actively advocates for science literacy and urges young individuals, particularly women, to consider pursuing careers in science. For me, it's all about being able to harness the power of living things to help people. It's transformative. Number 12. Wangari Maathai, born 1940, died 2011. A Kenyan environmentalist and political activist who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her contribution to sustainable development, democracy, and peace. She was also the first woman to receive a PhD in East and Central Africa. In the course of history, there comes a time when humanity is called to shift to a new level of consciousness, to reach a higher moral ground. Number 13. Grace Hopper, born 1906, died 1992. A computer scientist and U.S. Navy Rear Admiral, Grace Hopper was a pioneer in computer programming and is credited with the development of the COBOL program language. During her lifetime, Hopper was awarded 40 honorary degrees from universities across the world. The most damaging phrase in the language is, "It's always been done that way." Number 14. Hedy Lamarr, born 1914, died 2000. Hedy was not only a renowned actress, but she was also an inventor who contributed to the development of frequency hopping spread spectrum, which laid the groundwork for modern wireless communication. If you're watching this on Wi-Fi, thank Hedy Lamarr in part for making this happen. The world isn't getting any easier. With all these new inventions, I believe that people are hurried more and pushed more. The hurried way is not the right way. You need time for everything. Time to work, time to play, time to rest. Number 15. Tiara Ginn, born 1995. Tiara Ginn is an aerospace engineer who graduated with a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. She has been recognized for her involvement in NASA's Space Launch System, SLS program, where she played a key role in designing the Space Launch System that aims to take humans to Mars. You have to look forward to your dream, and you can't let anybody get in the way of it. No matter how tough it may be, no matter how many tears you might cry, you have to keep pushing. And you have to understand that nothing comes easy. Keeping your eyes on the prize, you can succeed. Number 16. Elizabeth Blackwell, born 1821, died 1910. In the face of cultural and financial obstacles, Blackwell found inspiration to enter the field of medicine when a terminally ill friend confessed that having a female physician would have spared her from unnecessary suffering and embarrassment. Elizabeth was the first woman to graduate from medical school in the United States, and she became an activist for poor women's health, and went on to found a medical school for women back in England, the country of her birth. If society will not admit of women's free development, then society must be remodeled. Number 17. Mary Anning, born 1799, died 1847. Most of us know the tongue twister, "She sells seashells by the seashore," but maybe you don't know the origin story. You're actually paying homage to this English fossil hunter. As a young girl, Mary Anning searched for fossils on the cliffs of Dorset, England, helping to supplement her family's income. At the age of 12, she made several incredible discoveries. She found the first known ichthyosaur fossil and also discovered the first 2 plesiosaur skeletons. These discoveries weren't just flukes, but because of her gender, she was denied access to be recognized in scientific life at the time. It was not until many years after her death that her influence was finally recognized. In 2010, the Royal Society named her one of the top 10 British women in the history of science. Science is the language in which we converse with nature, and its truths are revealed through the language of evidence. Number 18. Catherine Fries, born 1957. Fries is a trailblazing modern scientist who studies dark matter, including studying dark stars in the universe, something that has never been observed directly by a human. Inspired by Albert Einstein and the question, what is the universe made of? The trajectory of her life changed at age 15 when she took an introductory course in physics at Exeter Summer School in New Hampshire. She is the director of Nordita, an institute for theoretical physics in Stockholm. Humans are driven to understand things, and in the process of doing that, we develop tools that make survival better and make life better. Humans are explorers, and I put myself in that category. And while we're at it, we're also tool makers. Number 19. Alice Augusta Ball, born 1892, died 1916. Ball was the first African American to earn a master's degree from the University of Hawaii, and later the university's first female and African American professor. A chemist, Alice developed a medical treatment or cure for leprosy when she was just 23 years old. Sadly, she passed away at age 24 and her work went unrecognized for many years. In fact, Dr. Arthur L. Dean, another chemist serving as the college president, took over Ball's work but did not give her credit. Instead, he claimed the research for himself. We might never have even set the record straight except for Dr. Holman. In 1922, he detailed the work she put into developing this treatment and called it the Ball method. Even so, it wasn't until 2000 that the University of Hawaii recognized her important contributions to medicine and now honor her every 4 years on the 29th of February. I work and work, and still it seems I have done nothing. Number 20. Beatrice Muriel Hill Tinsley, born 1941, died 1981. Beatrice was a British-born New Zealand astronomer and cosmologist, and the first female professor of astronomy at Yale University, whose research made fundamental contributions to the astronomical understanding of how galaxies evolve, grow, and die. As a child, Beatrice immigrated to New Zealand following World War II, first living in Christchurch and then for a longer time in New Plymouth, my hometown. She died aged only 40 from melanoma, but not before she proved that the universe was infinite and would expand forever. I don't see it as a weakness to be motivated by emotions. What else is the driving force or the inspiration to think of useful theories? Only if emotional attachment to one's own theory makes one blind to alternatives is it bad. Number 21. Sophia Louisa Jex Blake, born 1840, died 1912. One of the Edinburgh Seven who fought to study medicine, Sophia Jex Blake was an outstanding pioneer who fought hard for the rights of women to practice medicine, which was considered outside the capabilities of women at the time. Despite not being allowed to formally graduate as a doctor, she was the third woman in Britain to be registered with the General Medical Council and the first as a practicing doctor in Scotland. In the 1880s, Jex Blake kept herself busy, practicing medicine privately in Edinburgh, founding the Edinburgh Hospital and Dispensary for Women and Children and the Edinburgh School of Medicine for Women. Her official graduation didn't occur until 2019, with the university awarding the Edinburgh 7 honorary degrees on the 150th anniversary of their matriculation. It is probably a fact that until lately, there has been no demand for women doctors because it does not occur to most people to demand what does not exist. But that very many women have wished that they could be medically attended by those of their own sex. Number 22. Inge Lyman, born 1888, died 1993. A Danish seismologist who discovered Earth has a solid inner core. Inge's future was shaped by a literal shift beneath her. When she was about 15, she experienced the floor beneath her moving and the ceiling lamp swaying above her for the first time in her life. While sitting at home with her mother and sister, still recovering from the shock, her father entered the room and disclosed they had just encountered an earthquake. This event sparked Lehman's curiosity and marked the beginning of her interest in understanding earthquakes. Between 1929 and 1939, she compared various data sets from earthquakes around the world to conclusively prove what was at the Earth's core. She realized that seismic waves arriving between around 104 degrees and 140 degrees from the epicenter had interacted with a solid inner core, disproving the previously accepted belief that the Earth's core was entirely liquid. You should know how many incompetent men I had to compete with, in vain. Number 23. Valentina Tereshkova, born 1937. There are 3 cosmonauts that head the Soviet Union's Hall of Fame. Yuri Gagarin, the first person in space, Alexei Leonov, the first person to spacewalk, and Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman in space. What makes Tereshkova even more remarkable was that she was working at a textile factory when she was selected from 400 applicants, and on June 16, 1963, she made space history she orbited Earth 48 times in a mission that lasted nearly 3 days, and at the age of only 26, remains the youngest woman and the first civilian to visit space. Now aged 86, Valentina still hopes to return to space, even if it is a one-way trip. A bird cannot fly with one wing only. Human spaceflight cannot develop any further without the active participation of women. And number 24, Marie Maynard Daly, born 1921, died 2003. Marie was the first African-American woman to earn a PhD in chemistry. Overcoming the dual hurdles of racial and gender bias, Marie Maynard Daly conducted important studies on cholesterol, sugars, and proteins, and her research increased our understanding of how foods and diet affect the health of the heart and the circulatory system. Courage is like, it's a habitus, a habit, a virtue. You get it by courageous acts. It's like you learn to swim by swimming. You learn courage by couraging. All of these women have made significant contributions to their respective fields, breaking barriers and inspiring future generations of women in science. I hope you have been inspired as much as I have. Do you have a favorite? Let us know in the comments.